bit of it into a separate function just so we can talk about functions a little bit before we get too deep in the weeds of creating elements. So let's make a really easy one. Let's just extract this color div out into its own function to see how we would do that. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these comments at this time. All right, so we made a function earlier for handle submit. Let's just make another one. I'm going to call it renderColor. And ideally, all it would need to know is the color. So let's just make its argument color. Wouldn't have to be favorite color or hair color or anything else specific. This is just going to return us a div with that as the background color. And all it would really need to do is return this with my color argument instead of favorite color. That would be the simplest version of this. We can keep improving it. Let's just make it work first. So how can we use this where we previously used color div? Well, let's see where we previously used color div. Right down here. So instead of color div, inside the interpolation there, I could just say render color parens favorite color. So favorite color, I already have set to the form value. Pass it as an argument to render color, which will take that, create a string that looks like this HTML, stick the color in the appropriate place, and give us back that string. Does that work? Let's refresh the page. We're expecting it to behave no differently than before. So let's say, Brandon in. Brandon in, what's your favorite color? Red. Let's have this red right here. Age, I don't know, 72. Go. Hey, it still worked. So we successfully extracted that out into its own function. Didn't save us a whole lot of trouble just doing that one thing, but there it is. So we want to use create element where we can. We could use that inside here. How would we do that? Document.create element. And what goes in there is a string, and as you hopefully caught on sometime in the last 45 minutes, that's not something unique. That's not like an ID of your new element. That's just the name of the element, the type of element, like A or span or div, right? In this case, it's a div. So let's go ahead and create color div. Then we want to give it all that style. So we haven't learned how to do this yet. But guess what? On a DOM node, there's a style property that you can, through which you can access all those CSS properties. Now in real CSS, we use hyphens to separate multiple words. In JavaScript, we don't. We use camel case as a general rule. Now the built-in stuff in the DOM is a little inconsistent in this regard, but This part is not. So background color would be background capital C color. And we can just set that to color. Similarly, we can set color div style dot width equal to 100 px. That's a string, not just the number 100. It doesn't know 100 what. The string 100 px. Color div dot height. Dot style dot height equal to the string 50 px. So we create the div, then we start messing with its style. Then we can just return color div. Oops. Did we talk about the lack of semicolons yesterday? Okay, it was the afternoon. I did not. All right, so now we're returning an actual div. So this isn't going to work. Let's see what happens when we try to stick that inside inner HTML on details. Let's say Angie. Did I ask you your favorite color, Angie? Gray. Okay. Age. Oh, college age. I don't know. Let's just type some numbers. Don't take it personally. You should be proud of that. And there's no unit there. That could be seconds. Okay. Name Angie, favorite color, object, HTML, div element. So what it's going to do is convert whatever this is to a string. And when you convert a DOM element into a string, that's what you get. Something like that. Object, HTML, div element. Not really what we were looking for. What's one tiny change I could make to this line, line 23, that would fix this? This may not be our permanent solution, but so dot value. This is a, what kind of element is this? It's a div. So what would dot value give us? Let's just find out. What the heck not? Go. Undefined. What about, what would, inner HTML wouldn't give us anything, would it? Because there's nothing inside it. What if there were outer HTML? We can't be that lucky. Seth. Favorite color, a slightly different blue than before. Age, I don't know, a whole bunch. His age is my old area code. All right. That did it. So if this div looks something, and this is just garbage, you don't need to write this down. But if this div looks something like this, inner HTML would get us everything that comes between the opening and closing tags, which in this case is nothing. Outer HTML would actually include the opening and closing tags of that element itself. So we could use outer HTML here to get it working the way it was. Yeah.
Does outer HTML only select the inner or the opening and closing tags, or does it close?
It's the entire thing. It's the entire element. So although this is certainly not where we're ending up, it would be useful to remember how to do this, so I'm going to go ahead and commit that. Extract color div into a function.